Kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome to episode 235 of the Rotten Views podcast. Thank you everyone for showing up to another new episode. Hopefully this one will be a fun one. I haven't watched the movie yet, but we are hoping it's going to be good because the cast members in it are pretty fun. But before we do get talking about the movie at hand, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening to the episodes lately. I appreciate it. For everyone who's been checking out the YouTube channel and all that other stuff, I appreciate it so much. If you're a new listener, thank you. Hopefully you'll stick around, maybe check out the catalog of old episodes. We've done a lot of good ones, so hopefully you'll find some content there that you like. But before we do get into that, let's do a little bit of housekeeping.
Housekeeping?
I think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
Could you come back in an hour?
Housekeeping, you want towels?
More towels. Need sleepy.
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
As always, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to leave a star rating if you could do so kindly. I appreciate it so much. I'm not asking for a 5-star. If you want to give it a 5-star, I appreciate that. But give it whatever star rating you want, 4, 3, 2. If you want to give it a 1, that's a little bit negative on your part, but that's okay. I'll understand it if you want to give it a 1 star. And I won't put a curse on you. I really would, but I don't know any curses, and I don't have voodoo doll or anything of your belongings, so that's besides the point. If you're listening on Apple or iTunes, whatever it might be, feel free to leave a review there as well. I'm not sure Castbox or what other programs or apps have rating systems, but if they don't, the one thing you can do that helps out the podcast a lot more than you guys probably ever realize, hit that share button. Share it on your Facebook, your X, your Threads, whatever you want to share it on. Just share the podcast, and that does help out a lot, and it means a lot to me. I do appreciate it. And as always, if you can check out all my links down below. Find me on all social media accounts at Typhonstein. We're on X, we're on Threads, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. One of the main things we're pushing though is that YouTube channel. We do the weekly game video every single Wednesday. We have old episodes of the podcast as well as short videos for art on there as well. And we also do the occasional live stream on YouTube. If you want to see more live streams though, make sure to check out the Twitch channel at Typhonstein as well, of course. And we're streaming pretty much anything and everything that we decide to play. That could be from Dead Island 2 to GTA Online to Red Dead Online to Fortnite or whatever game I decide to put on at the point in time. So we're going to be playing a bunch of different games over there, so definitely go check that out as well. Also, something I did forget to mention with the YouTube channel, once we do hit 1,000 subs over on the YouTube channel, we're going to be giving away some free artwork. So if you want to be one of those lucky people that might get a piece of artwork, feel free to hit that share button as well. I'm not sure how much artwork I'm going to be giving away. It might be just 1 piece, might be 2 pieces. I don't know yet. I don't really have a game plan. I know we're still like 160 away from that marker, so hopefully we can get it within the next couple months. I'm not really too sure. I'm going to be brainstorm some new ideas for the YouTube channel and for other content and whatnot to help grow the channel a little bit more, or grow all the channels actually, to be honest with you guys. So hopefully I can come up with something this weekend that will help get more listeners and viewers and eyes on the content. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think that's all the housekeeping that we really need to do at this point in time. I don't think there's really much else to talk about from the last episode. So let's discuss the movie at hand that we're going to be watching. This is a first time watch for us. It's on Tubi, so you can watch it free on Tubi. I think it's also on Amazon Prime, but like I said, it's free on Tubi, so just go support Tubi. It's from 2022. It's an hour and 25 minutes long. It's a horror action movie. It's called Hellblazers, and the main reason I picked this movie, it's got Billy Zane and Tony Todd in it. It also features one of my favorites, the Crypt Keeper himself, John Kaiser, in the movie as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. Looks like it's going to be a fun B-horror movie, but nonetheless, I'm really looking forward to it. The description as read on IMDb for this one is: a satanic cult focused on unleashing hell on earth conjure a demon and set to the task of feeding it the populace of a nearby southwestern town. Also, before I get too far into it, this movie has a 4.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 4.5 out of 10 on Prime Video. Apparently, 51% of Google users have enjoyed this movie. This movie has, of course, one director, like they all do, but the director is also the writer, so we save a little bit of time because we like to talk about like the director and the writer and whatnot, and then we talk about a couple of stars. But for this section, it's going to be a little bit shorter because, like I said, the writer and director are the same person, and that is Justin Lee, who's best known for doing he was the writer for 2018's Big Legend. He was the writer for 2019's Swell. He was the writer for 2019's Badland. He was the writer for 2020's The Protector. He was the writer for 2022's Maneater. And a lot of other B-style horror movies that I don't really know anything about. So I don't know if there's really too much to discuss about them. With that being said, we're going to jump into a couple of the cast members on this movie. One of which is going to be Courtney Gaines. You probably know Courtney from being Hans Kopek in 1989's The Burbs. He was also Malachi in 1984's Children of the Corn. He was also Dixon in 1985's Back to the Future. I don't think he's really a big character in this movie, but once I saw his name, I'm like, I got to talk about him because I don't talk about him enough because I don't really watch too many movies with him in it. The next person we're going to talk about is Tony Todd, who recently just passed away. Well, last year he passed away. He's best known for being in 1992's Candyman, playing, Candyman. He was also in 1996 The Rock, playing Captain Darrow. He was also Grange. I don't know if I said that right. In 1984's The Crow. He was also Dan in 2007, The Man from Earth. So something I also didn't know with Tony Todd. Apparently in 2023, he was the voice of Venom in the Spider-Man 2 video game. In 2019, I believe we did this movie for the podcast, but I'm not 100% sure. I know I watched it, but he also plays the character Bishop Gate in Candy Corn. And an honorable mention, he's Reverend Zombie in the Hatchet series as well. We gotta mention that one, because it's just fun. And of course, the other person we're gonna talk about is the Crypt Keeper himself, John Kaiser, who's best known for being, the Crypt Keeper in Tales from the Crypt for 93 episodes from 1989 to 1996. He was Elliot's vocals in the 2016 Pete's the Dragon. He is Ralph Willie in Uncle Sam in 2005 Reefer Madness, the movie musical. Never even heard of that one. Might have to check that out. He's also Sherp Howard in 2000's The Three Stooges. I don't think I watched the 2003 Stooges movie, and I don't think I have any desire to watch the Three Stooges movie. Oh, and of course, then their honorable mention for this movie is Billy Zane. Best known for being the Phantom in 1986. He was Match in 1989's Back to the Future Part 2. He was Cal Hockley in 1987's The Titanic. He was Huggy Warner in 1989's Dead Calm. In a fun B-movie zombie movie, he plays Jason Hunt in 2007's The Mad, a zombie movie based around some infected cow meat that turns everyone else into zombies. It's a stupid concept for a movie, but a fun one nonetheless. And sadly, for whatever reason, this movie doesn't even have a goddamn tagline, so that's kind of a disappointment, but it is what it is, I guess. At least there's no tagline credit on IMDb. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the movie at hand then. So feel free to pause this episode now if you don't want to be spoiled. Sure, this movie did come out in 2022, but what I like to do with each and every single episode is I talk about a movie from start to finish and hit all the points in between that interest me. So this is going to be spoiler heavy. So feel free to pause it now, go watch it on TV, or just sit back, relax, listen to me talk about the movie, and I'll either make you really want to watch it or you can avoid it. that's your call. Feel free to get some snacks, sit back, relax, get some Doritos, ice cream, whatever it might be, pretzels, peanuts, who knows. Or if you're at work, hopefully this helps you get through the day. And as always, if you're listening in the car, just keep your eyes on the road, stay focused on where you're going so everyone gets home safely. And we're going to get started on the episode right now.
Presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight,
we have a close-knit community here. It's been that way for 50 years. Hey, Sheriff! I get it. You big town folk aren't too keen on small town living.
I like the quiet, actually, Rick.
Because we got plenty of that.
Anything new to report?
There might be a rabid coon up in Foxtail Canyon.
Really?
I hate to tell you, Joe, but nothing too exciting happens around here.
Yeah, that's what they keep telling me. Morning, Bill.
I want to make a complaint.
About what exactly?
On my property last night, I had trespassers. They were dressed in sheets. Then they started chanting in a gibberish kind of a language. The earth started to open. Hey, bud, look at me. All hell's about to break loose.
Joe!
What the hell's going on here, Joe?
Some asshole said some fancy words and raised a goddamn demon out of hell.
What are you gonna do?
We got a level playing field.
So we got the movie starting, we got the intro credits starting to come in, we got this satanic cult looking diagrams in the background as the intro credits are all coming through. And it doesn't look too bad, we can tell that it's definitely a B-style movie, but it looks like it's gonna be, a pretty good B-style movie. Hopefully, at least. And then the movie starts right out with this cult scene outside. And we see the leader of the cult, which I believe is Joshua, Billy Zane. He's looking a little bit older. He looks a little different with longer hair. But it is definitely Billy Zane now that I'm seeing it on a better angle. And everyone else is fully robed with the mat, the hoods up. So you can't see who's underneath the cloaks, of course. And then we bring someone over to sacrifice him to the satanic ritual. Put this guy down on his knees. And then Joshua, Billy Zane's character's like, throw him in the hole. We didn't just dig a hole to the hell for nothing. Just toss him in the hole. What are you waiting for? Come on, let's sacrifice him now. Come on, let's go. And then we see this old man who's Bruce Dern playing Billy Unger. I think Bruce Dern is actually from the Burbs as well. I think he's the military neighbor, actually, to be honest with you. So that's kind of funny. He's visiting his wife's gravesite. He, I guess, tries to get her a new rose every single day. Just say how much he loves her and misses her. But then we cut back to Billy Zane and the cult people around their circle, and this guy's fighting them off, but they push him into the hole to hell, and then we just see some CGI flames flowing up on the screen, and then Billy Zane starts doing his little satanic ritual, reading from some kind of satanic book of some sort. We hear this demon monster roaring from the hole in the ground, and then Unger is looking through a bush, being like, that doesn't look too good. And then we see the monster or demon slowly starting to come out of the hole, and Billy Zane's character Joshua's looking down and being like, this might not be that good. And he starts reading from the book. He's like, so we brought you here with good faith and effort to try and make you stronger. We're going to feed you more humans, okay? Let's not kill us, though, okay? We're loyal subjects here. We're here to help you. And then Joshua's like, be free and reign chaos. And then he's looking at his servants as the demon's walking away. He's like, make sure the beast is fed, okay? And they're just staring at Joshua. And he's like, no, now. Make sure he's fed now. Go do it now before he kills us. It's now the next day, and we see this town sign called Hope Valley, and there's a paper boy going down on his bike, tossing the newspaper off at this diner where we're met by, I believe, Georgina, one of the names, I think. And then we see this guy who's got this Christmas tree lot, and we hear a chainsaw going off, and he's getting ready to cut down a tree, and I believe this character's name is Bernard, who's Courtney Gaines, and the guy on the bicycle hits him in the head with the newspaper as he's doing his little drive-by. He's like, ah, damn it, dude, watch where you're throwing the paper. And then we see this cop just rolling up through town, and town looks super small because we got the diner, then we got Bernard's Christmas tree lot, and then we see the officer Joe, who's just sitting in his car. It looks like he's contemplating life and why he's even living there. And Joe's just sitting in his car, and he's looking at the mirrors and stuff, and then he just pops open the glove box and just starts, drinking some alcohol. And then out of nowhere, we have Rick show up, John Kaiser's character, and he's like, hey, Sheriff, how's it going? He's like, hey, Rick, good seeing you, bud. And apparently Joe is new to the town because Rick's like, so you getting settled in there, Sheriff? He's like, yeah, I guess. Not really much to get settled into because there's not much in this town at all. And Rick's like, we ain't like your big city people. We don't got no supermarkets or no Radio Shacks. Radio Shack hasn't been a thing for God knows how long. And then Joe's like, I like the quiet. He's like, we got lots of quiet around here. Couple snakes and stuff too, but it was pretty quiet. And we're inside the police station where we see Teddy and one of the other female officers. I believe it's Mary or maybe Liz. I'm not too sure on that one. But Teddy's doing a paper airplane trying to throw it into the coffee of the other person. And Joe's like, so any news in town, guys? And Teddy's like, somebody stole a plastic Frosty from one of the neighbor's house. But, that's about it. And Joe's like, that's it? That's really it, guys? He's like, yeah, that's really about it. And then, apparently, another case is raccoon. And Teddy's like, hey, boss, you didn't have to deal with those in New York? He's like, well, yeah, I've dealt with raccoons, but never a rabbit one. He's like, yeah, well, to be honest with you, boss, we gotta worry about the rabbit cows. Lots of vampires just swooping around in these parts. He's like, vampires? Teddy's like, yeah, bats. And then Joe's trying to explain a Stephen King movie to the two people, Teddy and I think Liz is the girl's name, I believe. Anyways, the movie that Joe's trying to describe to them is Cujo. And neither one of them know anything about Cujo. And it's like, you a big movie fan there, boss? He's like, yeah, I guess so. You guys never seen Cujo, huh? And then we cut to this bar that's getting ready to open up, or a diner that's getting ready to open up, because they also have arcade machines, so I'm not sure if it's, it could be the diner because it's just such a small town. But we see the machines getting dusted off, then we see someone mopping up the floor, and they got the music go on. They're just having a fun time, just dancing around. I believe maybe this is Liz, I don't know. This could also be a Deanna. I'm not too sure. There's two blondes in the movie, and I'm not sure which one's which, to be honest with you. And then she's dancing around, cleaning up the bar. We see Teddy just standing there watching her. And she's like, hey, hi, Teddy, how's it going? Can I get you anything? And he's like, coffee would be nice, I guess. And then they start talking about the new, the Sheriff Joe. And he's like, well, he's quiet, I guess. He's, doesn't really talk that much, so not really too sure how the new sheriff is, to be honest with you. And then she mentions that Teddy should be nice to the new sheriff because, he's from big cities, from New York City, doesn't have any friends or anything out here at all. So we gotta be nice to him, get along with him and, show him a good time. And then Harry walks in, Tony Todd himself. And then Teddy's sitting down at the bar with Harry. And Harry's like, hey, Teddy, let me ask you something. And then Teddy, just before Harry can even say it, he's like, he's a nice guy. He's quiet. He doesn't really talk that much. And Harry's like, well, he hasn't really made his rounds around town yet. So I'm just a little bit curious about him. And then out of nowhere, Harry's like, so, Teddy, how's your mom liking where she's living now? And he's like, it's not bad, it's a new change of scenery. But there is some things that she still misses from home. And Harry's like, well, give her my best for me, I guess. So I'm assuming maybe Teddy's mom and Harry had a thing together. And then Harry's asking for a glass of eggnog. And because there's some other Christmas related stuff on this, I did not know that this was a Christmas themed movie. Or probably would have, waited till December to watch it. But it's not super heavily Christmas related right now. There's no snow outside in the movie. There's Christmas lights up, and they talk about Santa Claus being stolen, and Candyman himself is drinking eggnog at a bar, but it's alright. Then we have Joe sitting at his desk doing some paperwork, and then Bill comes in with a 12 gauge, puts it down on Joe's desk. He's like, so Bill, anything you want to talk to me about, seeing you just dropped a 12 gauge on my desk? He's like, yeah, I want to talk about some trespassers that were on my land last night. So then Joe's like, so do you know these people, or did they take anything or break anything? And Bill's just like, well, they're kind of dressed in these sheets, like these Purdue color sheets, and, you know, scarves over the nose and the mouth and stuff, and they look like they're from Afghanistan or something, and I don't really know what to tell you, buddy. You know, I don't want them on my land. And as Bill is describing this story, Joe's just looking off confused, being like, wow, why am I listening to you? Are you drunk right now? Because I don't know what you're even going on about. And then Bill's like, and then they dragged this guy out of the bush beside them and put him down in the hole, and the earth started to open up, and it looks like the guy fell to hell, and then out of the hole came this big demon-looking monster thing. So then Joe's like, alright, let me get this straight. There's some people dancing and chanting and raving around a hole in the ground on your property. And Bill's like, yeah, the hole was deep. Don't forget, the hole was really deep. He's like, alright, the hole was deep. So they're dancing and raving and, you know, just chanting, and this monster came out. You know, are you sure it just wasn't a bunch of people having a party, you know, just, you know, drinking it up, and maybe you're a little bit drunk too? And then Joe's like, so are you a drinker by chance, Bill? And he's like, does Pinocchio have a wooden dick? What do you think? And then Bernard walks into the police station. And then Bill starts going on Bernard. He's like, yeah, Bernard's got a dog named Poncho. And there's signs all over this place that says every dog should be on a leash. And Poncho's never on a leash. He's a mangy dog. And it's not right for Poncho to be able to walk around without a leash on. And Bernard's a bad dog owner. And then Joe's like, alright guys, you know, let's just split it up. Alright Bill, I'm gonna go check your property. I'm gonna take a look at things, but don't call me an asshole again. Bill's like, did I call you an asshole? He's like, yeah, you did call me an asshole. He's like, well, did I say before that I'm an asshole, so an asshole can call another asshole an asshole? And then Bill leaves, and Joe's like to this other officer, he's like, he always like that? And she's like, yeah, he's a little weird. You know, at one point in time, he said he saw an alien landing and some other weird stuff, but, you know, we kind of just shrug it off because, you know, Bill's Bill. She's actually a radio show host, so that means the lady that's part of the sheriff's office is married. We're getting the names right now, guys, okay? We're doing a little bit better at getting the names right. We have the sheriff going in there, and he's meeting Bobby. Bobby looks a little bit confused. He's like, hey, Sheriff, I'm just going to go open the shop now. I just want to say, you know, hi to my mom, Georgia, and just let her know, you know, we got some new Elvira stuff and some killer clowns stuff. I'm not sure what kind of store I run yet, but I'm sure we'll find out later on in the movie. So Joe's wondering if Georgia listened to anything unusual last night, and if she has a lot of, you know, listeners that contact her. She's like, oh, well, yeah, every now and then some, you know, outsiders, you know, when they're working on the trailers trying to get through, or they're milking their cows. I'm not sure why milking cows has to be brought up, but then before he's leaving, he's like, Georgia, just make sure you let me know if anything weird happens. She's like, is there anything weird I should be looking out for? He's like, nah, just wondering, just, you know, let me know if anything happens at all right? So we see Teddy driving his car. And I thought Mary was the other officer that was working at the sheriff's station. But we find out that it's Liz, because Liz is like, so where are you going there, Teddy? Where'd you take off? He's like, I'm just looking for Bernard's dog. You know, could be chasing some jackrabbits or something. We're going to find him somewhere. But did you ever get rid of Bill? And she's like, yeah. He said something about his phone lines being cut, and then Teddy's like, Bill even have a phone? Like, why does he complain about the phone lines being cut? Then as Teddy is driving down the road, he looks confused. He stops the car, gets out of the car, and he starts looking around. Because now all we see on the road is a bicycle, which is the newspaper kid's bike, and we see his Walkman, and then just a giant puddle of blood. And Teddy's looking around all confused, being like, that probably isn't good. And then he looks off into the field, and we see two of the cult leader people off in the field. And he's looking around being like, And then he looks back at his cop car, and once he looks back to the field, the cult people are gone now. And Teddy hops back into his police car and he starts booking it out of there. He doesn't take pictures or look at the crime scene at all. He just books it away from the bike and the giant puddle of blood all over the road. And then we see this young couple that are sitting in a car, and they're making out. They were going to go spot some eagles earlier, as they told Joe, but they're just making out in the car. And then the car shakes a little bit, and they look around confused, being like, what's that? And then they're like, don't see anybody around all. So let's keep making out. So they start making out some more, and then the car shakes yet again. And then the guy's getting out of the car. He's like, let's see who it is. He's like, probably just a hitchhiker trying to mess with us. Probably no big deal. Gets out of his car and starts looking around, but we don't see anyone. And then he walks off of the camera view of the car. And then for whatever reason, he runs back up to her door and her window's down. He's like, yeah, unlock the door, unlock the door. And the next thing you know, we just see him being tackled out of the scene. And then she's screaming as we see this bloody hand, demon hand, pop up on the windshield of the car and blood going across the windshield. And then we see Bill sitting in his wheelchair. He's like, oh, look at this first asshole. He looks like he's dressed from Purdue. And then look at this. Now he's got a buddy with him. He's like, it looks like he's got something in his hand. Oh, look at that guy got a knife in his hand. Oh, look, now there's a third asshole over there too. So then he's like, hey, do you guys ever play Teacher May I? How about, the rule is you can only proceed forward when I tell you to. So how about you assholes take 5 steps forward towards me? The one cult guy looks back at the other 2 cult guys like, I guess so. So then he walks forward and there's a trip line. The cult guy hits the tripwire and an explosion goes off beside him. And Bill's laughing up. He's like, alright guys, come on, keep it walking. Come on, let's walk forward. Let's not waste all fucking day here. I got some killing to do. Come on, come closer to my property. So then the second cult guy actually hits another one. Explosion goes off. And then we look back at Bill and he's holding 2 goddamn grenades as the third cult guy with a knife comes walking towards him. And then this cult guy is walking towards him with the knife out, and he steps in a trap. And he's like, Bill's like, what a fucking shame, right in the grizzly bear trap, huh? Oh, look, you're swiping your knife at me, huh, buddy? Oh, that ain't gonna do you too good, eh, bud? And then for whatever reason, Bill pulls the pins out of the 2 grenades and is holding them in front of the cult guy. And he's like, Happy Hanukkah! And they both blow up. Instead of pulling the pin on a grenade and dropping at the cult guy's thing at his legs and wheeling away to save himself, he's like, nah, I don't need to live any longer. And now the next scene is nighttime. We see a close-up of the demon's mouth, and it's got blood dripping all through it. It looks like a pretty decent concept and design for the monster, but then he's kind of filling up his head and his forehead. And then I'm not sure what part of the body this is because it's so zoomed in, but then we just see something moving through his body. So I'm not sure if it's something in his head moving or something in his back, but then something slowly starts to poke out of the body of the demon. And then we see some flesh dropping on the ground, and we see a zoomed in shot, and we can see the demon's actually growing his horns by the looks of it now at this point in time. Now we cut over to the diner, and of course now we know who Mary is, because it freaking says on the sign now, Mary's Diner. I don't remember saying Mary's Diner before. I thought it just said diner. But anyways, we just see Joe sitting there eating some food as, Mary's, talking to him, and then one of the others servers comes in. He's like, I'm so sorry I was late. And then out of nowhere, Liz runs into the diner. And she's like, Sheriff, just got a complaint, a call about some loud noises coming from Bill's place. We gotta go check him out. And then the sheriff's Joe's like, so where's Teddy? He's like, Teddy's just out there looking for that damn dog. I don't know where he went. I lost radio control with him, or command with him, and it just went staticky, and I don't know where Teddy is now, but he was looking for the dog. And as Joe's driving down to the scene, we then see Bobby coming out of his little shop, walking over to Rick to talk to him at his gas station. He's like, interesting man. Rick's like, all men are interesting if you look deep enough. What do you want, Bobby? You don't usually just come over here to talk to me about anything. He's like, let's do that time belt up. Rick's like, do that timing belt up? As in, you want me to actually finally order the part for you? So then Rick's on the phone with his friend Terry to see how long it will take to order the timing belt. And then the whole phone line just goes dead. Rick's like, that's odd. Phone just went dead. Not sure why. That's strange. So then Rick and Bobby go to the payphone and look at it. And of course, that phone line's dead as well. And Bobby's like, all the phone lines down. He's like, well, I'm not really too sure. Let's go talk to your mom and see if she knows anything. So they go into the radio station to talk to Georgia. And she's not at the desk, so they pick up the phone, or Rick picks up the phone. He's like, that phone line's dead too. And it's weird. And then Georgia comes out of nowhere and scares both of them, being like, hey boys, how's it going? And Georgia's like, how can I help you guys? He's like, the phone lines are dead. She's like, all of them? He's like, yeah, all of them. All the phone lines are dead. And Georgia's looking around confused, and Rick's like, what's the matter? He's like, the sheriff told me to keep an eye out for anything odd happening today, actually. And Georgia pulls up the CB radio to try and listen in on the police radio. And they find out Teddy's like, I don't want to talk about the dog right now, to be honest with you, Liz. I'll discuss it later. And then Rick looks out the window. He's like, look, Teddy's showing up right now, actually. So let's go confront him to see what's going on. And Teddy's like, I went out there looking for Bernard's dog. I didn't find it, but I found Timmy's bike on the side of the road, actually in the middle of the road. And I need to call Timmy's parents, actually, to call them to make sure that Timmy went home okay and got home safe. And George is like, you ain't gonna be doing that because all the phone lines are dead. And Teddy's like, all of the phone lines are dead? And Teddy's like, Unger was here this morning. He was going on about some weird stuff and people on his property. And he said to keep an eye out for the phone lines. And George is like, Teddy, where's the sheriff right now at this point in time? He's like, Unger's place, actually. We see Joe and Liz showing up at Unger's place. And he's got like an old farm looking area. He's got some broken down cars and tractors and stuff. And then they stop and they're getting out of the car. And we see 2 barrels on the ground. They both said flammable before. But there's also a random shoe in the middle of these 2 barrels. And then Joe's like, all right, we got to slow down. We got to be careful when we're walking up here. And we see debris all over the place. And we see Unger's hat on the ground. And of course, that's a spot where he decided to take 2 grenades and blow himself up. But I don't see where his body parts are at all. Then Liz is looking around and she's like, did he mine the place? And Joe's like, well, to be honest with you, it kind of does look like that. And she's like, well, where's Bill? He's like, I honestly don't know. But we see his wheelchair about 10 feet in front of us, laying on his side. It's apparently still in one piece. And as Joe's walking closer and closer to the wheelchair, he actually looks back at Liz. And when he looks at Liz, the demon creature is behind her. And then he literally takes both of his hands and just crushes Liz's skull. And we see blood, coming out, and we see her screaming, and then we just see Joe shooting towards the demon, but there's also like C4 on the ground, so he's probably shooting at the C4 to try and distract it, or at least damage the demon. It's now nighttime. We see the little town with the lights all lit up, and we see one of the cult leaders, or cult people, I guess, in the town. Actually, there's a couple now of them, actually. There was one just holding a knife, and now there's another one holding a bat. Now there's another one holding a battle axe, of all things. Not sure where the fuck they got that from. And then we see Teddy in the sheriff's office trying to get a hold of Liz or Joe. And of course, Rick's there as well. Bobby's there, and George is also there. So now the 4 of them are sitting in the little office. Like, so what do we do now? He's like, I don't know. Joe's going to be back, though, okay? Joe's going to be back, guys. I'm not taking control of this. I'm not the new sheriff. I'm not doing any of this. Well, we're overthinking things, and everything's going to be fine. I'm sure there's nothing seriously too bad happening in town, and we're all going to be okay. So then everyone's like, you know what? We're going to go make sure everyone in town's good, make sure everything's calm, make sure Bernard's not looking for his damn dog. And then we just see Rick looking at his car, and he's got the hood popped up, and we also find out Teddy's like, someone stole my battery. He's like, yeah, someone stole my battery too. You want to bet that every other vehicle on this block is not going to be able to be used because there's something wrong with it? Because something's weird going on in this town. So as Rick is staring inside the hood of his car and Teddy's leaning on the hood, he's like, somebody clearly doesn't want us leaving here. We see Deanna taking out some garbage, and she turns around, and there's 2 of the cult guys staring at her and being like, what do you guys want? And the one pulls out a knife, and then she just starts screaming for anyone. It's like, Teddy, Harry, Rick, anybody, somebody please help me. So then Teddy pulls out his gun and starts running towards her. Luckily enough, she's got a shovel, so she's trying to fight back the cult guy as he's trying to slash at her. And then Teddy comes out of the darkness and just shoots the cult guy in the back. No questions asked at all. And she's like, there's another one. And then the other cult guy starts to tackle Teddy. And Teddy's, fighting him off at one point in time. And then Deanna just comes out of nowhere with the shovel, smashes the guy in the head. And then as he's on the ground, she repeatedly impales him with that shovel. And all you hear is just the blood and guts effect, just squishing all over the place. And then there's 2 more cult guys. And then Harry shows up with a sledgehammer. He's like, I want you guys to get inside there right now and shut the goddamn door. I'm going to kill these sons of bitches. Harry's acting like he's a video game character from a fucking zombie game. And he's just swinging that sledgehammer around. And then one of the cult guys actually blocks his sledgehammer attack. And then 2 other cult guys just come in with little knives and just start impaling Harry over and over again. And we hear him screaming in pain. And then we cut to Rick, who's somehow got a gun inside a little toolbox. And he's getting it ready to set up. So then he's running around with his gun. And he's like, I'm not ready for no hide and seek. I'm not in no mood for no hide and seek. You guys better show yourself so I can shoot you now and just get it done over with. He turns around quickly and there is a cult guy there coming at him. So he just blasts him twice. Good thing it wasn't like Bobby or Teddy or somebody else, because they would have been dead as well. Then we see Bobby and Teddy inside the I thought it was a bar, maybe it's a restaurant. I'm not really too sure because there's like a diner right across the goddamn street. And Bobby's like, oh, there's gunshots from over at Rick's place. And Teddy's like, I'm sure he's probably fine, maybe. See Rick turning around to look at the cult guy that's dead on the ground. And then he turns around quickly and sees another cult guy running past him. So he goes to shoot at him a couple times, but he gets away. And then another cult guy just walks into the scene in front of him. And Rick's just smiling and being like, all right, you want to have a fight? Here, let me pick up my crowbar and we'll just do a fist to fist kind of deal, huh, buddy? So then another cult guy shows up, and then Rick's like, Jesus Christ, how many fuckers are there? And he picks up his gun. He's like, see you later, kiddies. And he shoots like the propane tanks, or it looks like welding tanks maybe, and blows up the whole goddamn gas station. Apparently these people rather just blow themselves up to take out the cult people than try to stay alive. And Teddy's like, so I'm going to make a run to the police station, get some supplies. I'm pretty sure I got a shotgun in the back of my cruiser. Or is it in the back of Joe's cruiser? I'm not really too sure. I can't think right now because I'm too stupid. And then Bobby's looking at the screen across the street. He's like, there's something moving over there. And they're like, is it one of us? And he's like, actually, I think it's Rick. And then we see Rick coming out of the gas station, huffing some, air because, there's smoke all over the place. And he's still alive somehow. Then as Rick is walking in front of the garage, you actually see some feet being dragged inside one of the garage bays, and we can hear the demon making some sounds inside there. And then of course now Rick is dead because the monster grabs him and pulls him into the darkness. And then we're over at Mary's diner, and one of the cult people come up behind Mary and just slash her with an axe. And then the other lady runs out of the diner, but Georgia is there to actually save her because she has this giant fucking revolver. Just shoots the cult guy and drops him dead in the middle of the road. And now everyone's inside this like bar area, and Georgia's like, so what the hell is going on here, guys? And I'm like, I don't really know, actually, to be honest with you. We're kind of just in the middle of a little bit of chaos and a little bit of problematic times. And Teddy's like, so George, you got any more shells inside that gun, or any ammo sitting around? He's like, the 2 shells that have been sitting in this gun have been sitting in this gun for 7 years. Why would I have any more ammo? He's like, all right, calm down. I was just asking you a question. I got more shells in the police station down the road, and maybe I could just make a run for it. And Cindy, the other lady that works at the diner, she's like, there's something in the streets. It's something that's not human, and that's what actually killed Rick. It wasn't one of the cult people. It was what the creature or whatever the thing is. It's just not human, and we can't go out in the street. So Teddy's becoming the big hero. He's like, you know what, guys, I'm going to run to the station. Deanna, you still got that radio, right? This is good because I can get a hold of you guys. You just can't radio back to me. But, I got this baseball bat, and I'm going to take a run for the station. I'm sure I'm going to be fine. So you guys don't worry about me, all right? We see Georgia looking out the window, and apparently the cult people are doing something, because she's like, what the hell are they doing? So now everyone goes up to the windows and starts, poking at the blinds to look outside. And we see one of the cult guys dragging another cult guy into the Christmas display that Bernard has, which we haven't actually seen him at all yet again. So then Deanna's like, I'm not sure if going out there is the best thing to do, Teddy. And she's looking around, and Teddy's gone. So then Bobby's like, he must have went out the back door. I'm going to go make sure it's locked so nobody sneaks inside. So then as Teddy's walking towards the police station, one of the cult guys comes out with a crowbar. So then we have a baseball crowbar fight happening between the two of them. And apparently these cult guys can't fight one-on-one because then another cult guy comes up and tries to attack Teddy as well. And then the cult guy gets Teddy down to his knees and gets ready to hit him in the back of the head. And then out of nowhere, Joe comes in with a shotgun and just blasts the cult guy. And Joe's covered in blood. He's like, get the hell inside now. We gotta get inside and barricade the doors. And now they're inside the police station. They got the door barricade. And Teddy's like, Jesus Christ, Joe, you realize? Like, yeah, here, take this shotgun. Anything comes inside that door, you shoot them dead. Understood? And Teddy's like, Joe, what's going on? He's like, haven't you heard? Some asshole says some fancy words and has a demon rise out of the fucking ground, and now he's trying to kill us all. And Teddy's like, you saw that demon up close and personal, didn't you? He's like, how'd you get away from it? He's like, I whined it, I dined it, and then I claymored it, and it still got up. Then we have Teddy and Joe both looking out the windows, and Joe's like, I was told that you're a good football player. Is that right? He's like, yeah, well, back in high school it was. So he's like, all right, Teddy, I want you to walk straight up, run straight up the middle, and I want you to get all those Michael Myers wannabes to follow you. And Teddy's like, all right, cool. Well, who's Michael Myers? And Joe's like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? So then Teddy's on the radio to get back to the group. He's like, so I'm going to be running straight up to you guys, all right? Joe's still alive. You guys better be ready to get that door open. And then Bobby's looking out the window, and out of nowhere, one of the cult guys is on the other side of the window and literally just stabs him right through the door. So then they lay Bobby on the pool table and start to mend his wound, his gash on his stomach. And they put a towel down on it, and then they get a shitload of duct tape and just start duct taping the shit out of it. Let me see Teddy leaving the police station. He's got the shotgun in hand. He shoots one cult guy, and then he shoots another cult guy, and then another cult guy just comes up and tackles him up against the wall and starts pounding him in the head. He drops the shotgun, but then Teddy gets enough power in him to push that cult guy back. He pulls out his pistol and just starts lacing the guy with bullets off camera, of course. And then we see Teddy showing up to the grill. That's what he called it. That's where everyone else is, and he's covered in blood. He's like, I'm okay, everything's okay. And then he looks over and he's like, Bobby? But is Bobby dead? And apparently from that one little, stab wound in the tum-tum, Bobby is dead. We see Joe walking out of the police station, and we see two cult guys walking up beside a car, and Joe's got a little, compact grenade launcher, and he just blows up that car, or shoots a grenade towards it. The car doesn't blow up. I'm assuming it's kind of out of budget for the car to blow up, but, it kind of shakes, and then there's smoke all over the place, and we see the two cult guys fall to the ground, and then we see this other cult guy coming from behind the car, and he's holding the sledgehammer, which I believe was Harry's sledgehammer. And then Joe decides to drop the compact grenade launcher to pick up a baseball bat to go one-on-one with this guy with the sledgehammer. We actually see Joe is able to get the cult guy to the ground, kind of like elbows him, while blocking a sledgehammer shot, and then he just walks over to the cult guy and just hits him in the skull with the baseball bat to the point where you hear his, skull cracking. You see Joe standing at the entrance to Bernard's, little Christmas tree farm, and we can hear the demon somewhere inside the Christmas tree area. And Joe loads up the compact grenade launcher, but then decides to drop it and picks up a chainsaw. See Joe walking through the Christmas trees with the chainsaw. He's kind of whipping it around at certain times, and we see the demon making his way through the Christmas trees as well. And I didn't notice this before, but the demon's wearing a tank top. Don't know why. I'm assuming maybe the high part of the suit. I'm not really 100% sure on that one, but he's wearing a black tank top. Could be a black dress for all we know, because we don't see his legs at all, but I'm assuming it's a tank top. It's funny because Joe's still revving that chainsaw, whooping it all around, and we can see from the point of view of him, it looks like he's only made it 4 feet inside this Christmas tree lot, but yeah, he's still just whipping the Christmas trees around, whipping the chainsaw around, and then he starts to walk out of the Christmas tree lot, and we see the demon getting closer and closer. So then Joe picks up the compact grenade launcher again and fires it right at it. You see this giant explosion go off. We see smoke filling up the whole screen. Joe's having a hard time breathing because he's coughing up a lung at this point in time. Everyone else starts coming out of the little diner grill spot, and they're like, is that everyone? And we see dead cult people all over the road behind them. And Joe walks over to them, and Cindy, the other waitress, is like, how's your night going, Sheriff? She's like, I think it's going all right. I think everything's going to be okay. So now we are left with Teddy, Joe, Cindy, and Deanna, and they're like, well, what's our next plan? And Joe's like, how about we go find the next biggest town and just go live there instead of here, because everyone else is dead here. So then the four of them just start walking down the road to try and find a car that's working, because the batteries are out of all the other cars. So unless they can find a battery and get a car running, they're gonna have a long walk ahead of them. And then the movie ends and the outro credits start to roll, and that's the end of the movie. It was an interesting movie. Concept is good. I wish Billy Zane's only in it for a couple seconds. All the actors are only in it for a couple minutes here and there throughout it. Of course, Teddy and Joe being the two main ones that are in it the longest. I wish Tony Todd was in it a little bit more, because he's actually on the cover. Every image I saw for the cover of this has Tony Todd on it, so I thought he was going to be more of a main character for this movie. He's not. It is what it is, though. It's an indie horror movie. The monster concept is cool. I don't know why he's wearing a tank top now that I'm thinking back on it, because it's a black tank top, and I don't know why. But he's a demon that came out of the ground. It's not like he was one of the guys and transformed into it. And there's an exit credit scene where this guy's sitting at a diner listening to radio, and the waitress is like, oh, it seems like there's a lot of commotion going on in the next town over. I wonder what's going on. And the guy's like, nobody cares about us small towns, just chaos happening and stuff. That's why I left the city. And then, of course, the waitress goes to talk to someone else to see what they want to order. And it's Billy Zane again showing up at the end of the movie, being like, I'm just here visiting your quaint town to see how things are going. But yeah, on the Rotten scale of 10, I'm going to give this one a solid 5. It's nothing amazing. It's nothing horrible. I also don't know where Bernard went. Did Bernard die? I don't think he died. He was looking for his dog, and then, it is what it is. Also, the fact that Unger just, kills himself to try and kill the cult people, and you think that Rick is going down the same route. I'm glad Rick stayed alive a little bit longer. He did die 2 seconds later, but, it is what it is. I guess he can take a welding tank blowing up beside him, but it kills everyone else. It doesn't blow up the gas pumps though. Yeah, it's weird. Anyways, it's just a fun little silly movie. Nothing crazy, nothing amazing. And with the amount of cast members in it that are from other movies, I didn't expect too much going into this. So it's, like I said, a solid 5, I believe is what I said. So we're going to leave it at that. Which brings us to a point in time where we've got to pick what we're going to be watching next week. Alright, so we're going to stick with Tubi, because we love Tubi here. And if, like I said before, if they want to sponsor us, I'd be totally okay with that. But we're going to watch another movie that's a first time watch for us, okay? This one looks like it's going to be fun. This one's from 1990. It has a runtime for 1 hour and 27 minutes. This one is called Deadly Manor. Bunch of kids on a detour for a lake trip, and they're stuck in a mansion, or not stuck, they're staying at an abandoned mansion, where a killer starts picking them off one by one. Typical 80s, 90s horror movie, so it should be fun. Hopefully it's good. Like I said, I don't know anything about it. I haven't even watched the trailer about it, so we're going to be watching that one next, so hopefully it's a good one. But with that being said, as always, if you could check out the outro band, Toronto-based horror band Blood Opera, all their links are down below in the description, but you can find them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and the main thing being Spotify and like Amazon Music.
Definitely go check out their music, follow them, like them, share their music, all that other fun stuff. And as always, you can check out all my links down below as well. Find me on all social media accounts at Typhonstein. We're on Thread, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. The main thing being though the YouTube channel, where we have the weekly gaming video dropping every single Wednesday. Various short videos over there as well, old episodes of the podcast, and we also do some live streams over there as well. And once we hit 1,000 subs on YouTube, going to be giving away some free artwork, so definitely go share that, go like it, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. That way you get notified every time we post a new video. And as always, check out the Twitch channel where we do more live stream gaming over there as well. A little bit of everything, all over the place. So make sure to check out all the accounts, and I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace.